Lucy Buggy Crew and welcome back to another video. Today we are back reading The Tales of Beedle the Bard by J.K. Rowling. So I don't own it, it's from J.K. Rowling. So in the last video we read The Wizard and the Hopping Pot. In this video we're going to read The Fountain of Fair Fortune. So there isn't really any pictures in this book for me to show you. So there's many just so you guys can see me read it. If you haven't already though, smack that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, smack the like button and comment down below that you've subscribed and you will get a shout out in the next video. Big shout out to Claire, I think that's your name. I'm sorry, I can't remember your account name off by heart. But Claire, big shout out to you and to Samantha Keir, who is my new subscriber. So let's begin. Also, follow my TikTok, Kate Spicer YT, and my Instagram, 2Star Trek Fan. All will be in the description below. Follow the Instagram especially because you will get an update of my new background that is going to be happening, guys, for the videos. So let's get on with the video. High on a hill in an enchanted garden enclosed by tall walls and protected by strong magic, flowed the Fountain of Fair Fortune. Once a year between the hours of sunrise and sunset, on the longest day, a single unfortunate was given the chance to fight their way to the fountain, bathe in its waters and receive fair fortune forevermore. On the appointed day, hundreds of people travelled from all over the kingdom to reach the garden walls before dawn. Male and female, rich and poor, young and old, of magical means and without. They gathered in the darkness, each hoping that they would be the one to gain entrance to the garden. So basically everyone's fighting over a fountain of fair fortune. So fair fortune fountain. Okay, 3 witches, each with her burden of woe, met on the outskirts of the crowd and told one another their sorrows as they waited for sunrise. The first, by name Asher, was sick of a malady no healer could cure. She hoped that the fountain would banish her symptoms and grant her a long and happy life. If you could be granted anything for your whole life, what will it be? Comment down below. I think mine would be... I actually don't know what mine would be. The second, by name Athrelda. Athrelda, we'll just go with that, can't pronounce that. Robbed of her home, her gold and her wand by an evil sorcerer. Wow, that's gotta suck. She hoped that the fountain might relieve her of powerlessness and poverty. The third, by name Amata, had been deserted by a man whom she loved dearly. Wow, that's, out of all of them, I'd say that's the one that mostly sucks. And she thought her heart would never mend. She hoped that the fountain would relieve her of her grief and longing. Pitying each other, the 3 women agreed that, should the chance befall them, they would unite and try to reach the fountain together. The sky was rent with the first ray of sun, and a chink in the wall opened. The crowd surged forward, each of them shrieking their claim for the fountain's benediction. Creepers from the garden, creepers? Minecraft creepers? Creepers from the garden beyond snaked, though at the pressing mass, and twisted themselves around the witch. Asher, she grasped the wrist of the second witch, Athelda, who seized tight upon the robes of the third witch, Amata. And Amata became caught upon the armour of a dismantled-looking knight who was seated on a bone-thin horse. The creepers tugged the three witches through the chink in the wall, and the knight was dragged off, his steed after him. The furious screams of the disappointed throng rose upon the morning air, then fell silent as the garden walls sealed once more. Asher and Athelda were angry with Amata, who had accidentally brought along the knight. Only one can bathe in the fountain. It will be hard enough to decide which of us it will be without adding another. Now Sir Luckless, as the knight was known in the land outside the walls, observed that these were witches, and having no magic nor any great skill at jousting or duelling with swords, which is basically literally what a knight is, nor anything that distinguished the non-magical man, was sure that he had no hope of beating the three women to the fountain. Get your horse to trample them. That's what I would probably do. He therefore declared his intention of withdrawing outside the walls again. At this, Amata became angry too. "Faint heart," she chided him. "Draw your sword, knight, and help us reach our goal." Oh, are they using him just to get to the fountain before everyone else? And so the three witches and the forlorn knight ventured forth into the enchanted garden, where rare herbs, fruits, and flowers grew in abundance. On either side of the sunlit paths, they met no obstacle until they reached the foot of the hill of which the fountain stood. It's going to be everyone there, isn't it? Pushing and shoving each other. Oh, there's actually a picture of the three witches. So the first one is, Asher, then Athelda, and then Amata. So the one with the black on it, that's Asher, Athelda, Amata, and the knight. Has some pictures. There, however, wrapped around the base of the hill, was a monstrous white worm. Okay. Bloated and blind. At their approach, it turned a foul face upon them and uttered the following words. "Pay me the proof of your pain." I don't know what a worm looks like. What do you expect? Looks like? I don't know what a worm looks like. I don't know what a worm sounds like. Sir Luckless drew his sword and attempted to kill the beast, but his blade snapped. Then Athelda cast rocks on the worm, while Asher and Amata essayed every spell they might subdue or entrance it, but the power of their wands was no more effective than their friend's stone or their knight's steel. The worm would not let them pass. So he's basically like the troll on the bridge. So you have to show him your pain to that worm to get to go anywhere near the fountain. It's kind of rude to just straight out attack it. The sun rose higher and higher in the sky, and Asher, despairing, began to weep. Then the great worm placed its face upon hers and drank the tears from her cheeks. Ugh, I'm glad there isn't a picture of that. Its thirst assuaged, the worm slithered aside and vanished into a hole in the ground. If it was a monstrous worm, that must be a monstrous hole. Rejoicing at the worm's disappearance, the 3 witches and the knight began to climb the hill. Oh, climbing hills. I know what it's like to walk up and down hills, and that's hell enough for me. Sure that they would reach the fountain before noon. So that must be like the end part, like if you reach the fountain after noon or at noon, it won't work. So it's probably like, it's like Cinderella when you turn her pumpkin into a big huge car, and next thing you know at 12 it turns back into a pumpkin. Okay, halfway up the steep slope, however, they came across words cut into the ground before them. Pay me the fruit of your labours. So Luckless took out his only coin and placed it upon the grassy hillside, but it rolled away and was lost. The 3 witches and the knight continued to climb, but though they walked for hours more, they advanced not a step. The summit came no nearer, and still the inscription lay in the earth before them. All were discouraged as the sun rose over their heads and began to sink towards the far horizon. But Athelda walked faster and harder than any of them, and exhorted the others to follow her example, though she moved no further up the enchanted hill. They all were thinking, hey, excuse me? Climbing up me faster isn't going to make me want to let you go up. Understand it? Yes, give me fruit then. Courage, friends, and do not yield. That is a terrible voice, she cried, wiping the sweat from her brow. As the drops fell glittering onto the earth. Oh, because she's got all the labour running and all that, don't know what that was, to get to let her go. The inscription blocking their path vanished. Imagine that, you're going super fast, like you're running, you're sprinting, and then it finally vanishes and you just go straight onto your butt. Or right through it. And they found that they were able to move upwards once more. Delighted by the removal of the second obstacle, they hurried towards the summit as fast as they could until, at last, they glimpsed the fountain glittering like a crystal in a bower of flower and trees. Who do you think deserves it the most? Amata, Athelda, Asher, or the knight? I believe the knight. Fountain glittering like crystals in a bower of flowers and trees. Before they could reach it, however, they came to a stream and ran round the hilltop. Bearing their way in the depths of the clear water lay a smooth stone bearing the words, "Pay me the treasure of your past." Oh, so this is where you could put the coin in, I'm guessing. But he's lost the coin. Sir Luckless attempted to float across the stream on his shield, but it sank. Yeah, no wonder. It was made of metal. The 3 witches pulled him from the water then tried to leap the brook themselves, but it would not let them cross. And all the while the sun was sinking lower in the sky. So they fell to pondering the meaning of the stone's message, and Amata was the first to understand. Taking her wand, she drew from her mind all the memories of happy times she had spent with her vanished lover, and dropped them into the rushing waters. The stream swept them away, and stepping stones appeared, and the three witches and the knight were able to pass at last onto the summit of the hill. The fountain shimmered before them, set amidst herbs and flowers rarer and more beautiful than any they had yet seen. The sky burned ruby, and it was time to decide which of them would bathe. Wait for it, they're all going to fight, and then it's probably going to turn to noon. I don't know, I haven't read this book before. It's an old book, but I haven't read it in years. Before they could make their decision, however, frail Asher fell to the ground, exhausted by their struggle to the summit. Summit's like a patch of land where something is, where you try and get to. She was close to death. Her three friends would have carried her to... Oh, and there's a picture of the... I know that's the elder sign on the bottom part of this well, but there's also an eye and some other figures. So I'll just show you that. That's the well. The fountain. The fountain, but Asher was in mortal agony and begged them not to touch her. Then Athelda hastened to pick all those herbs she thought most helpful and mixed them in Sir Luckless's gourd of water and poured the potion into Asher's mouth. At once Asher was able to stand. What was more, all symptoms of her dread malady had vanished. "I am cured!" she cried. "I have no need for the fountain. Let Athelda bathe." Why Athelda? What about Amata or the knight? But Athelda was busy collecting more herbs in her apron. "If I can cure this disease, I shall earn gold aplenty. Let Amata bathe." So luckily, I keep wanting to say luckiness, but it's luckless. Sir Luckless bowed, don't know what that was, and gestured Amata towards the fountain, but she shook her head. The stream had washed away all regret for her lover, and she saw now that he had been cruel and faithless, and that it was happiness enough to be rid of him. "Good sir, you must bathe, as a reward for all your chivalry." Probably pronounced that completely and utterly wrong. She told Sir Luckless. I know someone's going to make a count of how many times I nearly said luckiness. Sir Luckless. So the knight clanked forth in the last rays of the setting sun and bathed in the fountain of fair fortune, astonished that he was the chosen one of hundreds and giddy with his incredible luck. As the sun fell below the horizon, Sir Luckless, oh my word, emerged from the waters with the glory of his triumph upon him. He flung himself in his rusted armour at the feet of Amata, who was the kindest and most beautiful woman he had ever beheld. Flushed with success, he begged her for her hand and her heart, and Amata, no less delighted, realised that she had found a man worthy of them. Of them? It says of them. So something Amata wants to say. The three witches and the knight set off down the hill together, arm in arm, and all four led long and happy lives. And none of them ever knew or suspected that the fountain's waters carried no enchantment at all. So of course there is Dumbledore's ideas on it, but his notes go on for a fair bit, so I'm not going to read his notes. But that's all I have today for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed me reading this book. I will be reading all the stories in this small book. But if you have suggestions for any books you would like me to read, I do have quite a few. I might as well show you quickly. These are all the books I have. I know it's a tiny bit messy, sorry about that. Oh, way too zoomed in. But anyways, I'll see you guys all in the next one. I love you all so much. Bye bye!